We understand a little bit about LoRa and the Things Network. Let's dig a little bit more into the architecture and the services that you provide. So there's the Things Network community network, but there's also a private network that you offer commercially, is that right?
Exactly, yeah. So the public community network is a free and open network for everybody to use, and it's very good for prototyping and development. But if you have a business case on top of your solution and you want to offer this to your customer, you want to have a reliable network and you want to have a service level agreement. And for this, we offer, from the Things Industries, we offer private networks.
Great, so Things Industries is your commercial wing, and to have an SLA you need a fault-tolerant architecture, which means that you have to deploy it, in a way that it'll be resilient and durable, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's dig into the AWS architecture. So over here, yeah, I guess these are LoRa devices, is that right?
Exactly, yeah. So these devices are LoRa devices, and they send LoRa messages from the gateways. So it's a bidirectional. But since LoRa is a radio protocol, all the gateways that are in reach, they receive the messages. So it's actually adding more gateways is also adds fault tolerancy.
Great, so it kind of creates a mesh network to the gateways.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think you say that you actually sell and build gateways. Do you have to use a Things Network built gateway to use the Things Network private network?
Yeah, so the Things Gateway is a very easy to activate and set up LoRaWAN gateway, but you can use any LoRaWAN gateway on the market.
Okay, so you can build your own or buy a third-party one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this LoRa device network connects to the gateways, and the gateways in turn connect to the Things server hosted on AWS, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So the gateways, they have a secure connection with the router, and that is the first component of the Things Network server.
Okay, so you have a router, a broker, and a handler. Are these EC2 instances deployed in AWS?
Yeah, so they can be, they can run on one EC2 instance for small private networks, but for bigger networks, you can run them on a separate EC2 instance. And since they are microservices, and they can also be deployed in different regions around the world.
Oh great, so it's a loosely coupled architecture of several microservices. Now why would you want to deploy, I mean I understand a multi-AZ architecture, and certainly for high availability you want multiple EC2 instances, but why would you want to deploy in multi-regions?
So you want to keep the latency as short as possible. So these devices are really low power devices. They need to sleep as much as possible. So when they send a message, they stay awake for 1 second or 2 seconds. That's LoRaWAN specification.
It's built into the protocol.
Yeah, it's built in the protocol. So you need the gateway needs to answer if you want to send data back to a device within 2 seconds at most.
So basically if the router is too far from the device physically, it might not get back the round trip time before the device goes back to sleep.
Exactly. So it helps when you keep everything as close as possible to the gateways. And this is what we allow with this distributed architecture.
That's interesting. So the distributed architecture and the loosely coupled nature of the architecture allows you not only to be highly available, but also to meet the latency demands of the architecture. Okay, very cool. So on deployed on AWS, you said these can be EC2 instances, one or many. How are you actually deploying these? Are you using CloudFormation? Yeah,
we're using CloudFormation to set up the infrastructure. And we offer it in 2 separate ways. First we have the AWS SaaS marketplace, where people can buy a subscription. And then we use CloudFormation to deploy the network server. You can also deploy the private network in your own AWS account.
Oh great, I like that flexibility. So you're using AWS Marketplace SaaS billing, so you can kind of pay as you go, and that's a hosted model. It's a multi-tenant SaaS application that the Things Network operates, is that right?
Exactly.
But customers can also deploy it themselves in their own AWS account?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So how do you actually, I see AWS IoT over here. How is the Things Network actually connecting into AWS IoT?
Yeah, so together with AWS, we built a bridge. And the bridge connects with the Things Network handler, which does encryption and decryption of application payload. And it bridges with AWS IoT, where your devices are stored. So your device registry is here, and also device telemetry, as well as the device shadows that AWS IoT uses. So data flows from the gateway to the router, to the broker, to the handler, and then it's using this bridge, we bridge to AWS IoT.
Okay, so you said device shadows, so device state is stored here, device registry, so the list of devices themselves and some telemetry. I guess it also allows you to connect to some other AWS services. What other services, like where does AWS IoT end and your services begin? Like what, in addition to the routing and the message broking, what other services is the Things Network providing in their infrastructure?
So we implement everything around LoRaWAN, but also to monitor your network, and we have monitoring, we have alerting, we have a graphical user interface where you can see traces of your network and data flowing through your network. And we have auto-scaling functionality. So if the load in your network increases, we can automatically scale up, and we can also send you alerts on load.
Great, so monitoring, alerting, high availability.
Yeah.
It really is an IoT platform that kind of extends and enhances the functionality we have.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
actually really cool. It's like an IoT last mile.
Yeah, it's the last mile of IoT, and it's not IP. So we basically, this is not only a bridge to the AWS ecosystem, but also to IoT devices that don't have an internet connection. Because this is like a really low power radio protocol that
When
we
the
use.
internet ends, you begin.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so, when you're connecting, where do you see customers using AWS services? I see a few services over here. How are they leveraging AWS services in addition to the services that you provide?
So usually what people do is they store the data in DynamoDB or in S3, but also Lambda is very usable for invoking functions based on data that comes in from AWS IoT.
Okay, so yeah, based on some preconditions of a message or whatever, it'll trigger some action and remediation or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So a message flows through the system, maybe triggers a Lambda function. Can you actually push data back to the devices? Is this a bidirectional or a unidirectional system?
Yeah, it's bidirectional. Okay. So your application can send data back to a specific device or to a group of devices. You can also broadcast. And we schedule the message until we have an opportunity to send data back to a device.
Oh, because it's low power, so it might be sleeping.
Exactly. So if the device wakes up, we have an opportunity to send data. But there are also some devices that are continuously awake and are always able to receive data. This is, in LoRaWAN, it's class B or class C.
Okay, so I guess they sleep just to really preserve battery.
Yeah.
These batteries last a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So high availability is amazing. Being able to queue up and send messages to devices once they wake up is a nice service you provide. The other thing that's really important in a commercial space and enterprise space especially is security. So how do you actually provide end-to-end security for these devices? Are things encrypted, and how are you handling that?
Yeah, so LoRaWAN provides a security mechanism, and this is all handled by the network server.
Okay.
If you want to have additional layer of security, you can add a secure element in a device. And with the secure element, you can leverage the AWS IoT encryption and decryption using certificates.
Oh, great. So you can have the things network and kind of LoRa-based key management and encryption and decryption and authentication, but you can also use on a device level with certificates AWS IoT?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's another nice way that it kind of extends and enhances our platform.
Yeah.
Well, this is very cool. I really like how the Things Network provides that last mile of connectivity and picks off where the internet leaves off. So, and it's very nice how it enables users to use the cloud and DynamoDB and all this other stuff, while at the same time enabling this low power IoT use case. Very nice architecture.